What would you say to someone who was just diagnosed and they're listening and they're feeling like we felt that day? Like you're just overwhelmed. You feel like it's over. You don't know where to go. Like what advice would you give that person? Are there any ways that you've learned to better listen to your body over time? Like I know a lot of us always feel guilty for resting or,
Mhm.
things like that. Like is there anything that you do personally just to help listen to your body? Richard, I know that we talked about too your relationship with alcohol. And
Mhm.
when did you first realize that that was an issue with you? And I'm so glad that you're so open about that because there may be people struggling that don't really know how to approach it. Welcome back to Miss Wired Podcast. I'm your host, Selena Buongiorno, physician assistant and someone living with MS. Thank you for joining me. As we head into May, we're honoring Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Month in Canada, a time to bring awareness, education, and real conversations around what it means to live with MS. Today's episode is a powerful reminder that life doesn't end with a diagnosis, it simply changes it. Today, I'm joined by Richard and Marc. Richard is a Toronto-based creative and advocate living with MS since 2015. They've been together for 17 years. After Richard's diagnosis, his life shifted dramatically, from running a fashion and travel platform with his husband to navigating uncertainty and identity changes. What began as an overwhelming time, including optic neuritis and depression, became a turning point for him. Richard made major lifestyle changes, including quitting smoking, embracing a nutrient-dense diet, and redefining how he lives and how he travels. He also confronted his relationship with alcohol and is now proudly sober, sharing how sobriety and MS are deeply connected in his healing. At the center of his story is partnership, resilience, and learning to truly listen to his body. This is a conversation not just about MS, but about identity, growth, and redefining what it means to live well. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. So, Richard, can you take me back to 2015 when you were diagnosed and kind of what that diagnosis and moment felt like for you?
Sure. In 2015, my first symptom was it was an arm. It felt like my arm was like being pulled at the same time. One side of my face went numb, and when I first when it first happened, I went to Mark and I was like, "This is weird. Maybe like I should go see a doctor. Maybe I
Yeah.
shouldn't." And I was like, "It's probably nothing." So I just went into a walk-in clinic, and I went to a walk-in clinic. The doctor looked at me and just said, "I have never heard of that in my life."
Oh, that's
So,
reassuring.
so I was like, "Okay," and he's like, "Let me send you to a neurologist." And I was like, "Okay." I'm like, "I've never seen a neurologist. I've always been healthy until that moment." So I was like, I didn't think anything of it. Went to a
Right.
neurologist. They did a whole bunch of tests, and that's when the neurologist was like, "You need to go to the MS clinic." And I was like, "What? Why would I have to go to the MS clinic?" And that's
Right.
when I went down, and that's when they did the MRIs. And they started with my first MRI, and that's when they brought me back in, and they were like, it was very much it came out of nowhere. So I was just like, okay, it's probably nothing. I had booked a trip the day after because I was like, it's nothing. Like nothing's gonna
Right.
happen. So I went in with Mark. We sat down, and he's like, "Yeah, you have MS." And I was like, "What? What is that?"
Right.
I think I was so shocked that I like blanked out. I was just staring out the window. Mark was pretty much just listening to everything, and I was just like I was out of it. I was like in my head, it was like your life is over because I was like I've never heard of MS. I didn't. I saw people coming in to the MS clinic, and I saw them in wheelchairs, and I'm like, okay, so this is my life now. Like it's over, and
Yeah.
yeah, the doctor was pretty much like, "Okay, go next door, see the nurse, and you can pick your medicine." And I was like,
Jeez.
I I didn't even have time to process the fact that what like what my life was gonna look like, and I was already being asked to pick medicines, and it was just a shock. I just remember going to the nurse and being like, "Okay, like, what can I do?" And she was like, "You can go on this drug or this drug." And then she was giving me the pros and cons of each, and I just I don't like I blanked out. I was just like, I couldn't I just heard her talking, and I was like,
Right.
"Yeah."
That's a lot to process, especially after being told that.
It was a lot to process, especially since I was pretty much like, "Oh, it's nothing." Like,
Right.
nothing's gonna happen, and it was afterwards that I went downstairs that I just grabbed Mark and I just started crying. I was just like there was nothing that could have prepared me for that, and nothing that like, I didn't look into MS before because I was like, "Why would I need to know it?" Like, I no one in my family has MS, no one no like, I've never heard of MS before, like, I've heard of it in different, like, contexts of, the MS Walk, the MS Readathon, and stuff that the MS Canada does, and but never in my family, never someone that I knew close to me. So I was just like, "This is nothing," and
Yeah, it's
that
a lot.
no, it was a lot to take in and a lot to process, especially since I had to travel the next day. So I was like packing, and I was just like packing, be like, "Oh my god, like what's going to happen?" Like
Ugh.
it put a damper on my trip, but, at the same time, I was like, "Okay, like, I still have to go on this trip," and, it was a good trip, so,
Where was the trip to?
to Seattle.
Oh, cool.
So,
We're
w
Seahawks fans.
yeah, oh, perfect. Yes, I loved Seattle, and it was a great trip, but in the back of my mind, it was still there. It was always like,
Of
"Okay,
course.
what is going to happen?"
Right. And I think
Yeah.
at that time, what was the hardest part for you to process emotionally? So you're given this heavy diagnosis. It sounds like you really weren't given a lot of information
Mhm.
and then kind of given these hard questions about treatment. So what do you feel was the hardest part for you to process at that moment?
The hardest part, I think, for me to process was the what my life would look like afterwards. Like seeing what would happen, what would change. It was pretty much like me thinking, like, okay, what is my life going to look like now? Like, do I have to just stop everything? Do I have to like, what's going to happen to work? What's going to happen to this? And it was just a lot was flying through my mind at the time, and it especially at that time, I didn't have any friends with MS, or I didn't have any contact with anyone with MS, so, I just felt alone. I felt very much like, I have no information for this, and I don't know what to do next.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we're hoping to change that through podcasts and advocacy so no
Yep.
one ever
Yeah.
has to feel like you and I did, because I had
Yeah.
that as well. And I know you mentioned that MS has brought positive things in terms of kind of taking control of your health. Was there a
Mhm.
specific moment where you just decided, like, this is it? I have to take control of my life and my health?
The first one was on the trip to Seattle. So right after I was diagnosed, I had my last cigarette. I remember taking a puff of the cigarette. It was my favorite brand of Marlboro Reds. I loved Marlboro Reds. So this day, I'm like, I would go to the States, get a carton, and just smoke them all. And I was a big runner back in the day. So I would go for a run. I took a puff of my cigarette, and my eyesight just started going blurry, and I got the optic neuritis. And that's when I was like, I looked at the cigarette and I was like, oh, I associate the cigarette now with not being able to see. And
Oh,
it really helped me a lot because
that's good.
I never touched a cigarette after it always scared me to kind of, uh, put the 2 together, like, to be like, "Okay, if I ever have a cigarette again, I might lose my vision, or I might have that," like it was more of a vertigo kind of thing, like, I was running, and it's just everything went, like, completely like, I just couldn't see,
That's so scary.
and especially when I was running in Seattle, I had never been to Seattle, I had no clue, so I was already in, like, downtown Seattle, and I was like, "How" I didn't know how to get back to my hotel, and I couldn't see, so I luckily, I had my GPS with me. This was back in the day, so it was very I was like, if I didn't have that, I would have been lost. I don't know what I would have done. Yeah,
That's so scary. And
it is.
I mean, it sounds like you made these lifestyle changes pretty quickly. What would you say was the hardest part of the transition?
The hardest part was food. Uh, I associate so what I did was I associated, when I stopped being able to run and, like, walk, I had many falls, I've had many, um, close calls where I would just be walking and I would just trip or, like, I would slip, and that's what I associated with the food. 'Cause, I was given the Well's Protocol, diet, book, and Dr. Wells, I read the whole book cover to cover, and I was like, "Okay, this is what I'm going to do." Because she even said, like, in her book that she went from a wheelchair to being able to walk, and it really, like, inspired me. I'm like, "Okay, if I can't walk, that's going to affect my life very like a lot. So I really wanted to change that. I really wanted to be like, no, no, I'm taking this full on. It was very hard. It was very hard at the very
Yeah.
beginning.
No,
Yeah.
and I did the Walls protocol too. I know we touched on that briefly, and I was
Hmm.
honored to interview Dr. Walls in one of my
Yes,
first
I know.
episodes. And I mean, the book was just so integral to me too because
Hmm.
you're reading it and you're looking for someone. So what with your experience with the Walls protocol and kind of taking a nutrient dense approach, how has your experience been? I know you said Mark was nice enough to jump in with you, which
Hmm.
makes a huge difference with a supportive
Yes.
partner.
I think that was the best part was because I don't think I could have done it alone. Uh, First giving up gluten, everything has gluten, and it
Yes.
and it was a big help to have Mark come with me to be able to look at ingredients and just pick out the best things that like especially back then, there was no gluten free. Like the gluten free was very
Right.
you had like a very, very dry cookie or you had it
That's
it it
true.
it it wasn't great. It wasn't great at the time, and we've seen the progression so far. Like, it's gone from, like, very, very, very bad bad and bland food to, like, delicious, delicious food, and it was great, it was great. At the very beginning, I also didn't like vegetables. I was like, "Okay, how am I gonna do 9 cups of vegetables?" To now that I'm like, "Okay, now I love vegetables." Like, uh,
Any tips for people who don't like vegetables? I get patients all the time. Like, is there anything you did that you're like, this really helped me?
uh, I I think that the most important was that I was able to get organic vegetables and I was able to taste the difference. And
Okay.
once I tasted the difference, I was like, okay, this doesn't taste like a regular vegetable that I normally would hate. And it made me more interested of finding, like, what the different types of vegetables were, because it wasn't just because at the beginning, it was very much like, "Okay, let me just get a grab a bunch of spinach," and that was to me what vegetables, and then I was able to explore and be like, "Okay, what other kind of vegetables are there? There's beets, there's radishes, there's" I just went on and on. I was like, "Okay, let me find what I do like, and then I can use that." And then as I started introducing different foods, I was like, okay, I like this one a lot better. This one a little less. Let me try and like reduce this one and include this one. And it just helped going through the list of like different vegetables. Cause yeah, vegetables are weren't my favorite. Like I don't think I ever would pick a like a salad or something
Right.
and just be like, okay, let me have this salad. And now I'm just like, okay, what kind of salad can I make? Like, I love just coming up with like different things that would make me more interested in food. I've become interested in just the food that and what I put in my body now. And I think that's was the biggest change for
That's a
me.
great point, awareness. I remember calling my husband from Sprouts crying because I was reading all the labels and I'm like, there's not a salad dressing that doesn't have canola or a seed oil. You don't
Yeah.
really realize what's in the food. And then I know I came home and I'm sure with you too, it was like a whirlwind. I'm like, all right, we're getting rid of all the plastic. We're going to do glass containers. And like we threw everything out. And it was, I mean, it's good to have the support.
Yeah.
How did Mark support you during those early and uncertain times? I mean, it sounds like you had a great support system.
Yes. At the early times, it was a dark time for me. I was very, very depressed. I was very, very I didn't wanna look up anything related to multiple sclerosis. I was like, I don't even wanna think about it right now. So Mark took uh, a big step and found out a lot about the disease, a lot about what would help, what wouldn't help. So he, I guess, helped me a lot in changing the way our place was set up, because I I would think I'm very forgetful, and it didn't help that the MS made it worse. So, uh, it would be like, "Okay, first let's take out the cabinets, because I'm like, I can't picture anything in the like, when the cabinet doors were closed. I couldn't picture anything in there. I'm like, "What's in there? What can I do?" So he took out all the cabinets, put like completely like doorless shelves. It's been great. Like I can actually see the ingredients and be like, okay, let me use this and this. Okay, let me see what I can make with this. And he's been also helping a lot with making different. um, no, different products. Like he would make cakes, gluten-free cakes. At the very beginning, he was just very, very much like making different things that I found a little better that I wouldn't make myself.
I love that.
I would never make yeah, I'm not a cook, I'm not someone who enjoys baking, and
Right.
so and Mark is, and Mark was great at that. He was like, "Okay, let's since we're both doing this, let's go in together and see what we can make," and that was a lot. That was very much helpful in this whole process.
I bet. So,
Yeah.
Mark, are you feeling better after all of these changes too?
But yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do, I think.
Right.
It's
The
like
things we're
you
supposed to
should
do,
be
yes.
eating well for your body and the fuel for your body and stuff. So I think everything made sense. But Rich is right. It's very hard in the beginning because it's
Of
overwhelming.
course. It's
There's
all
so many
new.
things you're not sure of. We weren't big people to look at labels and stuff like that in the beginning and
Right.
what there is. But I think Richard for me to help make it easier was also trying new things. Like, I understand that that can also be a bit of a luxury to try new things and to be able to buy those things. But if you can try different vegetables on special, I mean, there were so many vegetables that I tried that I didn't even know existed. And you figure out what you like and what you don't like, and that kind of makes it easier. So you take it on as a bit of a little bit of an adventure if you can take that small
Right.
win into account.
You guys should make a cookbook,
Maybe one day. I
like
do
all your
make good cake.
adventures. You could do a blog. And Richard, I know that we talked about too your relationship with alcohol. And when did you first realize that that was an issue with you? And I'm so glad that you're so open about that because there may be people struggling that don't really know how to approach it and
Yeah.
how to change. So I love that you're so open about that.
Oh, yeah, of course. I think it's always been there. Uh, I will say I've been an alcoholic my whole life. It's very open in the Spanish community to use alcohol. Everyone uses it. It's what you do at a party. It's what you do to when you're with family, and it just became ingrained in me. And I was using it more of because of my social anxiety. I had extreme social anxiety back in the day. And for me to start a party, for me to go anywhere, it was with alcohol. And then when we were doing the website, we were invited to a lot of events, and the events had open bar. And to me, at the time, I was very like, okay, if it's open bar, I'm making money right now. Like I will drink everything. I remember just feeling like, okay, it makes me more social. It makes me great. And then it would turn into like, okay, now I'm starting to slur. Now I'm starting to like get a little, and I didn't see it at the time, but I was like, okay, I needed it. And then after I was diagnosed, I turned into like me trying to uh, compensate and be like, okay, now I'm going to do organic wine because organic wine is healthy for you. And then it turned into, okay, let me see what I can do that's healthier than like, and I was trying to justify the fact that like I needed the alcohol. I would be at work all day and be like, okay, what time does the liquor store close at? What time does the wine store close at? Because we in Canada, we don't have just liquor everywhere. You have to go to specific spots, and once it closes, you're out of liquor. And
Right.
so I knew exactly when every liquor store would close, when the wine store would close, and I thought it was just normal. Everyone was doing it until the organic wine turned into box wine, and then the box wine turned into I need to just have like a backlog of wines or a backlog of alcohol and something that I needed to speak to people. I couldn't talk to anyone. I was so shy. I was so scared. And also it just helped with trying to cope with the fact that I had MS. Like
Right.
I would just be like, okay, well, if I'm drunk, I don't have to think about the MS. And then I would use the MS also. So whenever I would fall, I'd be like, it's probably the MS. But I knew, look, at the back of my mind, I knew I was drunk. I was so drunk, and it, yeah, it helped with the coping of it, but it helped with trying to like deal with everything at the same time. But then once I realized like, okay, like I need to make a change, uh, I think that was when I hit my rock bottom. My rock bottom was like the wine, the box wine, and just being on the floor and just being like like completely like drunk. And for me, I have what I found through my journey was I have aphantasia, and a lot of people don't know about it. It's I have no like visual like, I can't see stuff in my head. So, whenever I close my eyes, completely dark. I can't picture anything. I I had the apple test. Can you picture an apple? No, nothing, nothing. So, for
Wow.
me, I could never see myself as drunk until Mark one day showed me a video of me drunk. And I saw myself and I was like, "Oh, I don't know who that person is." And it was hard to be like, "Okay, that is me, but it's not me." Like,
Yeah.
the slurring, just the stuff I would say, and I'd be like, "Okay, I don't remember any of that, but it's on video, so it has to be true." And that's when I was like, "Okay, well, let me reevaluate my relationship with alcohol." And that's when I had my last drink, and my last drink led to me had being not able to like, I guess, speak. Someone asked me a question and I couldn't enunciate. I couldn't pronounce it. And so I also that's when I started associating alcohol with not being able to speak. And I feel like I've done that a lot. I've taken something that's been bad in my life and associated with something that could be worse. And I try to pick which one I would like more. Do I like to
Right.
speak or do I like alcohol? And I did not like alcohol. I was like, okay, I like speaking a lot more than I like
Yeah.
drinking. And I remember the days like I was a bad drunk. Like I would mix 3 to 4 like liquors to try and get that buzz before I would go anywhere because I needed to be drunk. I couldn't I couldn't be the party Richard without being drunk. And
Right.
and I've learned now that I didn't need that at all. Like, I could be a party Richard, but it took a while. It took a long time. It took a lot of me trying to investigate why I would not speak to anyone. Like it was very like I was scared. And I think that what helped me a lot was using my cane. And that was one of the hardest things for me to use. Because for someone with social anxiety, using a cane, you're pretty much everyone's looking at you.
Oh,
No, and
yeah.
me, I was like, okay, if everyone's looking at me, I like I don't want to use it anymore. Like I like this is scaring me, and it got to a point where I was like, okay, let me use it. And I still remember the day I was using it, and I was leaving a grocery store, and I saw an an older elderly woman just looked at me and smiled and just, like, nodded, and I was like, "Oh my god." Like, yeah, like, like, it just it warmed me up inside to see that,
Oh,
okay, she was happy to see someone with a cane. She didn't know anything about me, but, like, her smile just, like, made me happier, and I've just I know I don't need it all the time, but when I do need it, I need it, and it's been great, like, people have been very nice, like, there's a lot of perks with it too, like, everyone gives you a seat on the bus, everyone anytime I go anywhere, people are like, "Are you okay, or do you need any help?" I'm like, I'm fine, but, like, thanks." And it has also helped me with trying to explain to people about MS. Like, I
right.
know we are the MS ambassadors, so we have to, like, uh, help and explain to people about MS. 'Cause the fact that I didn't know about it means a lot of people didn't know about it. And
Right.
it's been great, like, talking to people, explaining to them what it is, like, walking with the cane, and then people are like, "Oh my god, what happened to you?" And I'm like, "Nothing. Maybe this is just my everyday." Sometimes it's sometimes it's just my legs hurt so much that I can't walk, or sometimes my balance is completely off.
Right.
So it's helped me with my social anxiety, like, especially the cane.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I too, like, even if people don't like to use it, I always used to tell my patients, like, falling is far worse. You don't want to fall.
Yeah.
So there's no shame in using it. And
No.
so that's good. And how has sobriety changed your life, especially in the context of MS?
Sobriety has it's made me a lot more clear in my thinking. It's also made me also think about different ways of enjoying my time. Like I remember going out and being like, okay, at the very beginning, everyone was drinking. 'Cause it's very common. It's almost like norm to drink alcohol whenever you go out. And it was like, okay, what can I do to not drink while everyone else is drinking? It was hard at the beginning because
Right.
you get to see the everyone going down and being like, okay, now they're getting drunker, now they're getting drunker. And I'm like, oh, and it reminded me, I'm like, okay, that's how I was. That was me back then. Oh my God. I remember that time. I remember my words starting to slur, me starting to be like, okay, what am I talking? What am I saying? And it was hard. It was hard. And I feel like right now, without alcohol, I feel a lot better. I feel my body feels better. Like,
It's
yeah,
awesome.
it,
And were
it's
your
it,
friends supportive?
uh yes, they were. At the beginning, they didn't understand,
Right.
especially like with the gluten free. Like it's a different change. It's like everyone's like, why can't you eat gluten? Why can't you drink alcohol? And I'm like, well, these are the reasons. And
Right.
Uh, it at the beginning, it was hard because everyone was drinking, everyone was eating gluten, and now my friends have understood it, and they're very, very accommodating to it. And I remember listening to your podcast with Dr. Walls, and she was like, "Okay, if your friends aren't
Right.
accepting of that of your dietary change of what you're actually doing with for your body, then maybe do something else with those friends." And that's
Right.
what I did, and I was like, "Okay, well, these are my friends that I could eat, that eat gluten, and let me do something else with them. These are my friends who drink a lot. Let me do something else with them." And
Right.
at the beginning, it was very much like, "Okay, let me see what I can do." But now everyone that is around me has been accepting of it, and it's
Good.
becoming a lot more accepting. Like, I will go out and the mocktails will be a lot better. Like,
I love that.
it's becoming a lot more prevalent, especially within, I guess, the younger community,
Right.
that they don't drink as much, and I like it, like,
It's a good
going
thing.
from, like, just having club soda to now having, like, a full mocktail that sure, it doesn't taste like alcohol, but I like that fact that it doesn't.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
went to a dinner a few weeks ago and they had an option like the mocktail option, which I
Mhm.
like too, and they put it in the same glass so you didn't have people asking why you're not drinking or,
Mhm.
so yeah, it was very accepting. And you
Mhm.
guys love to travel, right? You had like a travel
Yes,
before?
yes, we did a whole bunch of traveling before, it was Europe, we would go to Mexico a lot, we've done Hawaii. I went back home to Chile, and, I took Mark with me. It was amazing, we went to Lima. So, like, we've done a lot of traveling, and now it's just like, how can I accommodate myself with the traveling? Like, if the cane has been helpful in that, and also going to different places, it's hard because they use alcohol a lot, so
Right.
it's very, very hard for them to understand why you're not drinking. But at the same time, my family, especially like when I go out, I'm like, okay, like I'm not drinking, and they're like, okay, yeah, we're fine, man,
Good.
and I'm happy with that, and I'm happy that more and more people are accepting of it.
Of course, as they
Yeah.
should be too, because
Hmm.
it's very healthy, especially for you.
Yeah.
And with your travel, you had said that you had to change it up a little bit, not
Hmm.
attend places so hot. Like, what are your biggest triggers with MS? I know you mentioned like the heat, so you guys are changing your travel plans, right, for
Yeah. So
different
it's not
destinations?
so much the heat. The heat is like it's very. It's not like I love heat. I still love heat. It's the humidity. To
Okay.
me, once the humidity hits, I can feel it. Like it's like
Yeah.
my body starts to shut down. And me and Mark have a kind of a little scale. I know a lot of people use spoons. I use the 100% scale. So I started at 100, and then Mark asked me, "What are you at?" Like especially when it's humid. Toronto's very humid. I'll be like, "Okay, I'm at a 60 now," and he'll be like, "Oh, really?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, yeah, it's going down." And once I hit like below 50, he knows, okay, well, now we have to start wrapping stuff up and start heading home. And he's like, what's the best way to head home? What's the best what do you need? Like, can we find a place there where they have air conditioning? Because we live in Toronto, it's all very close. Everything's very, very, very like we live downtown, so it's very you have options to different places to go.
That's
So
good.
like we'll go to a Starbucks, it'll be nice and cool. But once I step outside, it's all open and it's all hot, and I'm just like, no, I can't do it. So
What
so
any other triggers for you other than just the humidity?
no, I think the humidity's the worst. I think that's my main trigger is the humidity. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
And how are there any ways that you've learned to better listen to your body over time? Like, I know a lot of us always feel guilty for resting or,
mhm.
things like that. Like, is there anything that you do personally just to help listen to your body?
Yes, I think it's more of like me thinking, okay, what what am I going to feel in like 10 minutes or in like 2 hours? And because the MS, the fatigue, I'm not actually tired. I'm not sleepy. It's just my body is just really
Right.
drained. So it's like, okay, how am I going to deal with this? I've always prepared. I always have like extra water, extra snacks, extra something to like help me with it. And I think for especially for summer, I've been trying to like find different fabrics, different things that are breathable. Because before I was
Yeah.
very much like, okay, what can I get that's cheapest? And I'm like, oh no, those are all polyester. I can't breathe them.
Right.
Yeah, and I would always, my favorite color was black. I loved anything black, and I'm like, oh no, the sun's gonna eat me alive in that. So
Right.
I've been trying to try it and find different ways to manage the heat,
I
and
like
that
that.
yeah.
So, and then you said too that you felt like a lot of this loss that you had in this whole journey has led to growth. So, I just wanted you to expand on that for
Sure,
anyone
yeah.
else feeling something similar.
Um, at the very beginning, the loss was, okay, you've lost your life. Like, to me at the beginning, I lost everything. And so once I started to change it up and, once I started to be, okay, it's time to eat better. It's time to stop smoking. It's time to reevaluate how I live, how I do stuff. It really helped me just feel better about my body. And I feel like without the MS, I wouldn't have done that. I would have continued along the same path. So to me, I know it didn't seem like it at the beginning. I know it may not seem like it for a lot of people, but it is a blessing for me because of the fact that I was able to understand that, hey, I wasn't leading a healthy life. I wasn't doing what was best for my body. And
Right.
it also helped me to realize I am an alcoholic, and I did depend on alcohol. I don't think I would have ever thought of that about that without the MS. Like I I know I was listening to another podcast with Rocco, and he
Oh,
was
yeah.
saying, yes, he was saying, if it wasn't for the MS, I wouldn't have discovered I was an alcoholic. I would have just kept on drinking, and I would have just kept on going down. And to me, yes, I have this disease, but there's so much more. There's so much more I could do, so much more I'm doing now. Like I love just experiencing life. Like
Right. No, I love that. It gives me chills when you guys say that because it's true too. And I had a lot of anxiety. And it's like when I got diagnosed, it's your priorities change, things
mhm,
that didn't matter before. And I'm like, this is what it took for me to get my stuff together.
yeah.
And it just kind of reshapes everything. So, how would you say, are there certain ways that you think of that MS has reshaped your identity, like in ways you didn't expect? Like you said, you redid your life, you stopped smoking, stopped
Mhm.
drinking.
I think
Anything else?
for me it was more of the advocacy. Like um it's meeting new people with MS, talking to new people about MS, just educating people about the disease. Just because it is prevalent, but it's prevalent in small amounts. Like you'll have
Right.
one person here, but once you talk to someone about MS, then they're like, "Oh yes, I have a mother, I have a father, I have a cousin, I have a sister." And the MS touches everyone,
Yeah.
it's not talked about a lot. So I think that really helped me to be able to like talk to people and advocate for it. So it really changed my view of like how everything affects me and how I can affect other people.
Right. No, it's true because we all kind of have this common goal of, helping each other. And
Yeah.
what would you say if you had to put just overall, like, what does living well with MS look like for you? Like you mentioned food, you try to limit inflammation. Do you
Mhm.
guys incorporate exercise?
We do have a gym schedule.
Cool.
I have upped my gym. We have a gym really close, and I go pretty much 4 to 5 times a week. I love it. Like I feel a lot better after. Like at the very
Yeah.
beginning, I was not. It was not easy. I never went to the gym, and if I did go to the gym, it would be like like very sporadic. Very. I didn't have a schedule.
Right.
And then at the very beginning, Mark was like, "Okay, let's just try yoga." And I was like, "Yoga? Why would I try yoga?" And to me, that's where it started. I was like, "Okay, I let me try yoga." I didn't like it at the beginning. I was like, "Okay, this is doing nothing." And all of a sudden, 5 to 6 classes in, I was like, "Oh, okay, I can actually do these moves now. They're becoming a lot easier. I'm becoming a lot more flexible." And I was like,
Right.
"Okay, if yoga did this, what else can I do? What else will help me with this?" And that's when I started doing more weight training. Instead of running, I would do like a walk, but on an incline. I did a whole bunch of weights. I've been doing stuff that's been helpful for me. We have what we call a gravity machine up here. It's kind of like a Pilates machine, but it's more of like you use you lay down on this machine and you do a whole bunch of moves, and it's more of your body that you lift up your body weight.
Okay.
And it's great because you lay down, so I don't have that, like, falling feeling that where I lose
Right.
my balance, and I love that because I was like, "Okay," that was one of my main things. I had no ability to keep myself steady, especially with, like, big moves or, like, big, like cardio moves. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna fall. I'm going
Right.
to trip. I in my mind, I was already like, like what's gonna happen to me during this whole process, especially bigger classes with lots of people. I'm like, if I fall, everyone's going to look at me.
Ugh.
If I fall, everyone's gonna come over and be like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" And it's gotten to the point where like I progress so much with cardio, with the working out that I'm like, okay, the more people, I love it. Like just have to just look around and just see how I can do better, how I can like what I can do. Like
Right.
there's certain spots of the gym that are cooler. I'm like, okay, I need this spot. Like if there's too many people, like where can I go that is like less people? And I think everyone's been so supportive. Like it's just like
That's awesome.
the gym to me was scary. Like I've never had a good relationship with gym. Growing up, uh, gyms were always like, "Okay, those are for the pros, those are for the straight guys," and to me, I was just a little tiny kid. I never liked the gym. They've always scared me, and now I love going to the gym.
Do you have any advice for anyone who feels like that now? Like it's just so overwhelming? Like anything that helped you get past that, or any advice for somebody who just walks by that place and is like, I'm not going in there?
Yeah, it was the yoga.
Okay. So
Yes,
that kind of gave you that.
it
Was that
was
at the gym?
yes, it
Okay.
was a yoga class, and it was just because it was so slow and so like you have to like think about every move. It was a lot better to start off. It was very much gentler. Um, there was also Pilates class, and I was like, okay, like these are like stuff that I was like, okay, how is this going to help me? And I was like, okay, it is helping me,
Right.
and that's was a good little segue into like getting into the gym, and that's
That's
when
awesome.
I started going to different classes. Mark started teaching a boot camp class, so I take
Oh,
that,
cool.
and I'm like, okay, well, I don't have to go like the biggest way. I just have to go what I can do. And
Right.
as it kept on going, I was like, okay, now I can lift a heavier weight. I was like, oh, now I can do this, and now I can do that, and it just became like I I found that. people were a lot more nicer than I thought at the gym. I thought I was always scared that we have a third floor, which is just like the muscly people, and I'm like, I'm like, I don't want to go up there. And then I went up,
Right.
and I was like, oh my god, like everyone's just nice. Like they're like, oh, do you know how to use this machine? Do you need any help? And I was like, oh, okay,
It's not as
yeah,
bad
I
as you
do.
thought, so that's good.
Yeah.
And I think
So,
easing into it as
Mhm.
well, right? Like if somebody's like nervous about the greatest thing you can do is try. We first did the yoga class, like, we were at the back of the room, like, by the door, like, if we
right,
wanted to
in
leave
case you had
5
to run
minutes
out.
in yeah, we had that option, right? And then slowly, we started to meet more people in the class and becoming more comfortable, and then, "Okay, let's try the next class maybe," like, if this one went well and stuff, and so we know some classes we tried and we're like, "Oh, that's not for us," you know?
Mhm.
Right.
You
I love
ease
that.
into it, you try.
And also my gym house, they had a chair yoga. So
Oh,
it wasn't for me, but it was good to go just because I was able to be like, okay, let me talk to some of the people in the chair yoga because the, it helped me like talk to people.
right,
I made a lot of friends at the gym, which I didn't think I would, and I made a lot of more friends with older people. Like I love hearing their stories. They have such great stories, and it made me want to go to the gym made me want to like explore different people, explore like their personalities. What do they know? What can
right,
what do they know about MS? What can I teach them, and what can they teach
right.
me? And
No,
that's
I love that too. And
yeah.
a lot of like when I saw older patients, you never know if you're the only person that they kind of speak with throughout the day. So
Mhm.
it's always important just to make their day. And the last question I have for you, what would you say to someone who was just diagnosed and they're listening and they're feeling like we felt that day? Like you're just overwhelmed. You feel like it's over. You don't know where to go. Like what advice would you give that person?
Uh, my advice would be don't go online.
Right.
Don't look up what MS is and what people are doing. Talk to people. Talk to your doctors. Try to find a community first. Yes, it is such a shock at the beginning that you don't think about this, but then you're like, when I started reaching out and, like, meeting people, I was like, "Oh, this community is huge.
Yeah.
We are a big community, and people want to make friends." Like, every single time we go to a different place, there's always someone there, and they have an MS society, they have an MS group, and we went to Newfoundland this summer. We met one of the, one of the women who runs the East Coast MS group, and she was absolutely amazing. She took us out. She took us out to our favorite coffee place, and I was just like, it was like we already had that connection,
Right.
and but it made it so much more stronger because I could relate to her. N And I was able to be like, "Okay, she knows what I'm feeling. I know what she's feeling."
Right.
Like, sometimes I feel like, okay, people don't understand, like, the fatigue is bad, like,
Yeah.
it doesn't look bad, but on the inside, I feel like, okay, my body is just, like, completely drained. But I look great. I look like, "Oh,
Right.
yeah, I'm ready to go," but I'm not.
Right.
I'm ready to go home.
Right. No, it's
And
like heavy, like lead, like trying to walk through cement.
yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think that for me it was once I was able to talk to people, once I was able to make friends, once I was able to actually like talk to people about the MS that actually understood me and understood what I was going through, that's when it helped. And that's when I was able to be like, okay, I can talk to people now. I know what I'm
That's
talking
awesome.
about. Yeah.
Mark, do you have any advice for anyone whose significant other is diagnosed? Like anything for the caretakers or just the partners, like,
Um,
because we don't
yeah.
want to forget them.
Well, probably, I mean, I would piggyback off of that and say, like, no doom scrolling, like, don't
Yes.
so there's doom scrolling for, like, any subject, so, I mean, this included, right? So, that can be very overwhelming, so just, take your time, be forgiving, especially if you're in a relationship, you have to be forgiving of each other because you're not going to get it correct the first time every single time, right? So you learn
Right.
things as you go and you do things for each other as you go. Like just like Richard was saying with the cupboards, right? Like taking off the cupboard doors and putting in just open shelving and containers. Like we learn that over over time. So,
Right.
be forgiving. Don't try and rush anything. You learn as you go. Hmm.
You
Yeah.
guys have any other questions for me?
Questions for you. Why? Yeah. Why did you start the podcast? Like,
So when I got diagnosed,
Mhm.
I'm in medicine. And like you
Mhm.
said, you didn't know what MS was. I
Yeah.
didn't know what MS was. And I'm in medicine. So I thought to myself, if I have a medical degree and all of this training and I don't really know, they teach you a little bits in school, but beyond that, I really didn't know much. So I
Mhm.
thought, well, I need to teach other people because then when I started going, like you said, not to go on the internet, well, I did. And I'm reading this stuff and I'm like, none of this is accurate. And
No.
I'm like, I know it's not accurate because I learned otherwise in school, but these people don't know that's not accurate. I'm not going to go on there and blast these people, but I need to be putting out reputable information because
Mhm.
I was so overwhelmed. And I was like, a podcast is a great way to do it. I love that. But thank you guys so much for being here and for
Thank
sharing
you.
your story so openly. And I think what stands out here is that your journey is not just about MS, but it's about identity, resilience, rebuilding, relationships, and just feeling aligned. And the honesty around both the hard moments and the growth is something so many people I think will connect with. And one of the biggest takeaways I think here is that healing isn't always linear, but it can still be meaningful and powerful. So, I mean, your journey has moved me. But thank you guys again for being here. And to everyone listening, thank you for being part of this community. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it.